Hello, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of the Hammercast. I'm your host, Alex, the Hebrew Hammer Salkin, and today I'm going to be kicking off a new series on the podcast called To Catch a Redditor. Now, there are a lot of people on Reddit, I am told, I don't spend a lot of time on there, who ask questions about bodyweight strength training, kettlebell training, things like that. And given that my specialty is kettlebells, body weight, and particularly movement and using movement to help you improve at your kettlebell and body weight training, I thought I would find a post that somebody made and then weigh in. So I did find one. I thought it was quite good. And I want to focus a little bit on what I think is going to be better advice for helping this gentleman out. So without further ado, let us hop right in. All right, let me find. Here we go. All right, so the post by I'm a mega effing dumbass, yeah, that's the guy's name, his screen name, is can't progress pull-ups, need some help with strategizing. Well, first and foremost, I got to tell you, I think that this guy needs to change his screen name from I'm a mega effing dumbass to something like I'm a mega effing badass, because here's the thing. This is not woo-woo. This is not, nonsense talk. If you talk down about yourself, you're going to internalize that, and you're going to end up not viewing yourself in a particularly positive light, even if it is a joke. Self-deprecating humor every once in a while certainly never hurt anybody. But I mean, look, if you're making your screen name something like this, I can't imagine this is going to be helping your opinion of yourself. So I would update that first and foremost, sir, whoever is behind this account. All right. So what he says is, as the title says, I'm currently unable to progress my pull-ups. I'm at 0, and well, I'm unsure of how I can achieve my first one. I need to be able to do 3 to 5 by the end of the summer, which is 4 months from now, and I've tried almost everything. For reference, I'm 5'9", 150 pounds, and about 20-ish% body fat, give or take. I've done assisted pull-ups. I can do 12 of those in a row without much assistance from my feet, I might add. I've heard progressing negatives helps a lot of well, but for some, I assume that's supposed to be as well. But for some reason, I can do like 2 negatives that are 4 seconds or so, probably less, before falling to the ground instantly on the next rep. I've been trying different things for a few months. I've done inverted bodyweight rows, although with my legs forming a right angle with the ground rather than straight out in front of me. I've tried Athlean X's 0 to 5. I think although I did it wrong, looking back, and may try it again if nothing else works. If that last sentence sounded strange, I'm just reading it as it's written. But I'm really desperate to get those pull-ups. I've put in the work and I'm just not seeing anything happen. Edit, and kneeling lat pull downs, I do those. Okay, well, first things first, putting in work doesn't really matter if the work is not all that helpful. So keep that in mind. Work by itself is not, it should be a means to an end. It should not be the means itself. So we've got a couple of responses here that I think are not all that helpful. And I'll start off with this one. I mean, they're intending to be helpful. So I want to give these people credit. They're all trying to help the guy out. I just don't think that they're going to be as helpful as they think. Okay. So this gent or lady, Polar Terror, says, this might not be the answer you want, but it's what helped me hit 6 pull-ups. I used a heavy band for assisted pull-ups, then onto the medium, then the light. Goes on to say, do 3 sets of 10 reps. Once you can do that with each band. Keep in mind a light band will be much harder as it'll offer least amount of help. Then you can start doing pull-ups without the band. You can, for example, do 25 pull-ups 3 times a week if you like. You can do 1 pull-up per set or however many you want, as long as you get 25 in total. I'm not really going to go on from here. The recommendations continue, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. I mean, it's like a mix of I don't know. Let's say like vegetables in a salad, but then it's like covered with dirt. So it kind of ruins the rest of it. Now, again, everybody here is trying to be very helpful, so I don't think that anybody is trying to lead this guy astray. But here is what I would recommend. Okay, first things first. Talking about doing 25 pull-ups 3 times a week is irrelevant, because if you can't do 1 right now, you're going to tell me that you're going to have somebody's going to do like 25 of something they can currently do 0 of. even if we're talking about assistance, this is not really all that helpful. What would be helpful, in fact, would be number one, start at the beginning. You don't want to start talking about the program. Like a program without good technique and without a good foundation is like a car without gas. Like it has potential, but it's missing a very, very important element to it. So what my recommendations would be as such. All right. First things first, you want to get a few prerequisites out of the way. So prerequisites would include things like, I mean, he mentioned doing bodyweight rows. I think that's a big help. But things like hanging would be huge. I also think that bodyweight rows are good, and you just progressively go from like a higher angle to a lower angle. Face pulls, YTWLs. Believe it or not, I mean, other things might even be useful, like curls. I'm not recommending that you do these, but I'm just saying that some people find these helpful. I don't really know this guy's circumstances. And so this is one of the reasons why I think the really specific advice, like doing a certain amount of pull-ups, is not going to help the dude. So, okay, I'm going to just give you my recommendations. Again, we got the prerequisites: hanging, basic pulling exercises like rows, face pulls, things like that. YTWLs, again, they're also very good. The next thing would be making sure that you've got a decent technique. And this is something that I think a few people mentioned it, but nobody really, as far as I saw in the thread, I didn't go through it. I didn't pore over it. But one of the things is that a lot of people just really didn't say, hey, look, you might need to take a look at your technique, because the guy's 150 pounds. He's 5'9", meaning he's a little taller than I am. And 20% body fat. By the way, get rid of some body fat and it will certainly make things easier. But even still, at your body weight, I think that the number one thing that you need to do is probably work on the prerequisites and the technique. Once you've done that, then you can start thinking about programs. And that's not even, I would say, the third step. I'd say it's probably like the fourth step. You just need to start practicing it and getting better at it, and not worry about the specific program until you're actually at the point where you can do some creditable pull-ups. And later on in the thread, somebody said, somebody asked why he needs, to get these pull-ups by the end of the summer. And it said he's going to be going into the military. And okay, so this is good. You got one of the things out of the way, which is you want to have like a good deadline. And here's what I'm going to go on now that we've got the couple things out of the way. So number one, we've got the prerequisites. You need to get those taken care of. And actually, you know what, while we're at it, I want to talk a little bit about why that's so important, the prerequisite side of things. So what I'm going to do, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see it. I'm going to share the screen here. Back in January of 2020, I released a program. It was a challenge. It was a 14-day challenge called Hanguary. And a lot of people did it, and a lot of people had some really great results. And even now, I still get some very rave reviews about people who've gone through it. So we've got a gal, Amy. She says, I hadn't tried pull-ups in a couple of months. So after wrapping up Hanguary a few days ago, this was last year, I figured I'd see where I was at. I easily cranked out 4 straight pull-ups. In the last year, I had been stuck at 3 straight reps for months, even when training them 3 days a week. Okay, do you see this, sir? I'm a mega effing dumbass, if that is your real name. She'd been training pull-ups hard, like it sounds like you're doing, 3 days a week, in fact, which comports with some of the recommendations that you're getting. But she'd been doing Hanguary, another one of my programs, February, you can probably guess what that was about, and a few other things. And basically, she was able to get pull-ups without training them specifically. And again, this goes back to what I talked about with the importance of prerequisites. You need a basic level of strength before you start doing something like pull-ups. I think of pull-ups as, I mean, they're not like an advanced skill by any stretch of the imagination, but there are a few other skills that come before it. Something as simple as hanging, as well as basic upper body pulls like rows and face pulls and things like that, will go a long, long way. We have another gal here, Lindsay, saying, I got back from Oklahoma last night and decided to test my chin-ups before bed. I banged out 4 unassisted. That is my highest number ever. Now, again, she was also not training pull-ups at the time. She just, because she'd been doing a few of my other programs that are really more focused on some prerequisite levels of strength, the strength was there when she needed to call upon it. All right. Now, to be a little bit more specific, then when it comes to getting to the actual pull-up side of things, we've also got, and this is going to be especially relevant to this gentleman, because weighing 150 pounds, that's not really all that heavy by any stretch of the imagination. So really, well, I won't say it behooves him, but what I will say is that it should be pretty straightforward to improve your pull-ups if you have the right guidance and if you have the right plan. But again, you first need the prerequisites, then you need the technique, and then you need a little bit of guidance from there. So Francois Peloquin, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, a French-Canadian gent, said, I started, this is Power Up Your Pull-Up. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, that's what it stands for. I started Power Up Your Pull-Up December 2nd of 2020. By the way, Power Up Your Pull-Up is another challenge that I released last year, which is has the intention of showing you how to improve your pull-up strength, part of it through prerequisite movements and part of it through technique work, some of which is not even done on a pull-up bar, by the way. And then, of course, getting in some specific pull-up practice. So what he says is he started at level 1. This is a 3-level challenge. Level 1 is for people who can do 0 to, maybe 1 or 2 pull-ups. And then it goes up to 3rd level, which is, where you're getting pretty close to double digits. And he says, even though my pull-up max was 4 reps, not with the bar touching, I did all 3 levels back to back. And today it was level 3, week 4, day 5. So this means that he did about 3 months worth of this because it was about a 1-month program. And new max will be attempted during the weekend, but I can already tell you it will be more than 6. Body weight stayed the same at around 240 pounds or 109 kilos. All right. So I'm going to skip the rest of what he talks about here, but he gave us an update shortly thereafter. It says results are in 11 full chin-ups plus 1 at 95% completed. So I basically tripled my previous best of 4 sloppy, not chest to bar pull-ups. So in essence, what he found was, surprise, surprise, by focusing on hanging, by focusing on some prerequisite movements, and then by focusing on his technique, he was able at 240 pounds to knock out, let's be honest, it was 12 chin-ups, right? I think he was only counting the ones that were chest to bar. So that means that maybe that 12th one was neck to bar or something like that. I didn't check with him, but I think that's about it. But 300% more pull-ups simply by following those guidelines, all right? So I think more than anything, we can reasonably say that the most important thing is, number one, maybe not listen to everybody on Reddit, but certainly the people who are, regardless of how much they are all trying to help you, and I have no question that these are all people who are trying to help out. The issue is that if you only look at somebody's experience, what helped them, it can be minimally useful in some cases, maximal in other cases, but you're just not going to know unless you know a whole lot about the other person. Now you might say, okay, well, what does this Alex character know about pull-ups? Well, one of my claims to fame is I've helped a number of women who are in their 50s to get their first pull-ups of their lives. There was a gal, I'm going to call her Charlotte because I don't think she wants her name being released, but she was a high-powered executive at a local TV station, and she was also in charge of several other TV stations around the country. And despite only training twice a week, at 50 years old, she had never done a pull-up in her entire life. I got her to work up to 2 full chin-ups, meaning elbows straight at the bottom, pulling all the way up to the top within a couple of months of working toward them. I had another gal named Sarah Rivka, who was also the entire life never able to do a single chin-up. She worked her way up to like 3 or 4, and she was in her late 50s at the time. I think she was 56 or 57. So one of my other, this is one of my favorite stories. There's a gal in Perth, Australia, named Frances Moylan. I call her the Iron Lady of Oz. She prefers to call herself the movement maker. She's very, very good personal trainer out in Perth. You should look her up. Movement maker I think it's .co. Look her up if you get a chance. But I wrote a program that helped her get. She weighed at like I think 124 pounds, or about 56 kilos thereabouts. And I helped her work up to a weighted pull-up of 36 kilos or 80 pounds. So I know a thing or two about it. So when I say, some things that may seem non-specific or may seem a little bit remedial, trust me, this stuff is going to help you quite a bit. So I know that this has been kind of a long answer to a short question to this anonymous Redditor out there who is going to be training for the military, but I want to see you succeed. And in fact, if you're a listener here, I want to see you succeed as well. So here is what I'm going to leave you with. Number one, you want to get the prerequisites out of the way first. So this is going to be true for any movement. It doesn't matter if it's pull-ups or push-ups or sprinting, whatever it may be. Get the prerequisites out of the way. Make sure that you're building those prerequisites on a solid foundation of movement All right. Not a bunch of hocus pocus drills and all sorts of other BS, but solid human movement, natural movement, authentic movement. And a lot of these things are going to simply fall by the wayside, these problems that you have. One of the ways that you can do it, of course, is you can hire a good local trainer to work with you, somebody who knows all of these things. But another good way would be to get my 9-minute kettlebell and bodyweight strength challenge. Okay, shameless plug, I know. But it focuses on some of the most natural and authentic movements that our body is made to move, our body is made to do, and helps you to roll that into improving your overall strength, your conditioning, resilience, and your confidence in yourself and your abilities. And it won't take any more than one single kettlebell, one or two kettlebells, and your own fair flesh. So you can find a link to that in the description or in the show notes, depending on where you are listening or watching this from. And if you're interested, hop on board. I think you might like it. It's totally free. And it'll also put you on my email list, which you can stick around on as long as you want. I send out daily tips on strength and health and fitness, and basically demystifying the process to getting old school strong in a minimal amount of time. So I hope you have enjoyed this first ever edition of To Catch a Redditor. And if you have any questions or there's anything else you'd like me to cover, please drop me a note. I would be all too happy to oblige. So in the meantime, have fun and happy training.